Hiya, this is video number 4 of my Trust Enterprises walkthrough, and in this video we're gonna focus on how to create a Laravel app, how to integrate the Trust Enterprises Laravel package into a Laravel app. Now, I kind of expect that this isn't an intro to Laravel by any means, but if it's new to you, then I recommend you can come in and have a look at Laravel and check out the documentation. It's a PHP framework and it provides a rich ecosystem for web developers to get started creating new applications. But now, let's come back to Trust Enterprises in our documentation. We have this Laravel client with this 10-minute crash course, which this little video course is going to replace. We have overview, installation, and interacting with your client. What it requires you to do is set up a webhook URL. Now, as we have already deployed a client, we're going to add the webhook URL as an additional parameter within our environment in Vercel down here, instead of going through this process. But first, let's create a new Laravel application. This is my home directory. I'm just going to create a new directory called Trust, and I'm going to cd into that directory. I'm going to create a new Laravel app. I'm going to call this Laravel app Laravel Hashgraph because I already have created a MySQL database with that name. So I'm going to type Laravel new Laravel Hashgraph. And this process creates a basic Laravel app. What we're going to do, I'm going to open up a new terminal window, a new terminal tab by pressing Command T. And we want to look at our ngrok. Ngrok is used to create a URL that tunnels to your local environment. It's very simple. Once you have it installed, you can type ngrok http 8000 and it creates this URL that you can use for forwarding. This is going to connect our local host, our local app, to the outside world through this URL. Now, we have a brief overview within our Trust Enterprises documentation. But if we come over to installation, it gives you an example of the packages you need to install and the database migrations you need to run and your configuration. Let's grab this package and come back to the tab where we installed our Laravel app. So if I press ls, we should see the folder and we should be able to navigate to it like this. So we're inside of our Laravel project. We can paste in our compose require Trust Enterprises Hashgraph project. And this installs the Trust Enterprises package. Wait a few minutes. And we are installed. Before we continue, we need to run a couple more commands that can be found in the documentation. So we copy and paste these commands. This migrates the database, the new tables, which is to do with containing the topics and the messages. Press enter. And now we have an app, a Laravel app with tables that have been migrated. We can come back to our MySQL client and refresh. And we can see that we've got some tables, which is our consensus messages and our hash graph topics. As a final step of configuration, we're going to copy this line here and we're going to paste this into here. This is going to publish our config into the app. And now if we open up our app in PHP Storm, we can see the project. Trust Laravel hash graph open. And now we can open it up and we can see the entire app. The final part of the configuration to make sure that the app can communicate and send messages to the client is to provide 2 bits of configuration. This configuration was migrated into the config tab under hash graph. The only configuration that you need to change is the node URL and the secret key. You can update the hash graph webhook route if you would like, but it's not required. So we're going to copy these 2 items here, go to our environment, and paste them here. Add in our secret key, and finally our node URL, which is our client URL, which we can just copy and paste. So that's the basic configuration. In the next one, we're going to run some commands. It's going to be good.